This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Jurassic Park Minute. Jurassic Park Minute is the fan podcast that chronicles and overanalyzes the classic 1993 film Jurassic Park minute by minute. I'm Kyle.
I'm Brady.
And hey, I just wanted to say real quick, we got Goonies Minute coming down the line and not much longer, huh?
We do, yes. Goonies Minute, the next thing from Pele Media. So the next Movies by Minute podcast that's going to be chronicling and overanalyzing the movie Goonies minute by minute.
In fact, that's going to be 2 weeks from today, I think?
December 12th.
Yeah, December 12th.
Yeah. It's I'm super excited. Me and the co-host Chris are just, busy getting into it and ready to set sail on that one.
Awesome. So that's going to be a great show, folks. Look out for that. Of course, we'll have we actually have the feed is already up for that over at Goonies Minute. So wherever you get your podcast, check that out. Goonies Minute should be up over there, and you can listen to our wonderful Pele Media pilot episode again, just kind of describing what's going on there. So,
but just stay tuned because we might have a little something special coming up before the 12th.
Teasing it here, folks. You should subscribe as soon as possible. So, all right. Well, hey, you ready to get into minute number 30 of Jurassic Park?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. In the previous minute, we witnessed the birth of a baby dinosaur. As the baby pushed its way out of its egg, Hammond stated that he has been present for the birth of every dinosaur on the island. As the minute ended, Malcolm asked if he had been present for the birth of every dinosaur in the wild. Dr. Wu told Malcolm that it is impossible for the dinosaurs to breed in the wild. At minute number 30, Dr. Wu tells Malcolm that there is no unauthorized breeding in Jurassic Park. At 30 minutes 10 seconds, Malcolm asks Dr. Wu how exactly they know that there is no breeding going on in Jurassic Park. Dr. Wu tells Malcolm that all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are female because they are engineered that way. At 30:18, we get a rotating shot of Hammond, Ellie, and Grant playing with the newborn baby dinosaur as Dr. Wu looks on. As the baby twitches its arms, Ellie says, "Oh my God, look at that." At 30 minutes 25 seconds, Malcolm walks around the hatching table with his arms behind his back. He is visibly troubled by something. Hammond states that the blood temperature seems like a high 80s and asks Dr. Wu to confirm. Dr. Wu says 91. Ellie asks if it's homeothermic and if it holds that temperature. Dr. Wu confirms that it does. Grant picks up the empty dinosaur egg. Dr. Wu hands out latex gloves to everyone so that they can hold the baby dinosaur. As Grant looks at the egg, the robotic arm swings around and takes the shell from him. At 30 minutes 40 seconds, Malcolm asks Dr. Wu how they are sure that the dinosaurs are all female. Malcolm asks if someone goes out into the park and lifts up the dinosaur's skirts. At 30 minutes 48 seconds, Dr. Wu tells Malcolm that they control the dinosaur's chromosomes and that it really isn't that difficult. Dr. Wu states that all vertebrate embryos are inherently female and that it just requires an extra hormone given at the right developmental stage to make them male. And thus ends minute number 30 of Jurassic Park. Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff going on in the scene, and I noticed watching this a flub that I had never seen before. And I think we want to restate, we're not here just to talk about all the Jurassic Park flubs, but if one of these things kind of jumps out at us, we're going to talk about it. The scene where the robot arm takes the egg away from Grant, Grant is kind of standing there, jaw agape after the robot pulls it away, right? He's just kind of looking at his empty hands with his eyes straight forward. Well, Ellie can be seen right behind him. She's got kind of her teeth clenched, this like embarrassed move, like that. And then the camera immediately cuts to her looking down at the egg at like shoulder level with Hammond. So
you know what though? I've never noticed it.
I didn't either until watching this. But it's one of those things where you're pausing a movie to see what's going on the screen. You start to notice this kind of stuff. So
I've never noticed it because all of my attention throughout this whole scene is on Malcolm. And when you see him kind of pacing around the hatchery.
Yeah, he's deeply troubled when he's walking around that hatchery table. Yeah.
And we really start to see everything, all of Malcolm's issues and all of his theories start to just sort of come about in this scene. And there is that one shot, the camera's kind of following around, and you can actually see Gennaro looking at him being like, oh, shit, like, here we
something's
go.
Coming. Yeah, he's got his hands behind him. He's clearly thinking about something. He's kind of in the shadows for most of that shot, too, where he's walking around just kind of like looking at the ground. He hasn't launched into his whole thing like Rape of the Natural World or There You Have It or Life Finds a Way or any of that stuff yet, but you can see the germination of that is happening right now. He's starting to think about like, there's something going on here, and it's not right. It's not natural, which I'm curious what your thoughts are on all the ethical implications of this movie, because clearly we're seeing science going wild here in a lot of ways.
One of my, probably my favorite moment in the entire movie is when they're in the VIP dining room right after they've seen the cow fed to the raptors, and that entire scene is where they just really get down to the nitty-gritty about the ethics and ideals of Jurassic Park
Right.
and this whole operation. And so I really want to come back to some of this stuff in that moment because that's
Okay,
very, very
fair enough.
heavily
Yeah.
laden with it.
Oh, we're going to be, at some point in the near future, we're going to talk again about Westworld because that show has gotten great. I've been following it. I know you still have a little bit of catching up to do, but my wife and I talk about it as we're watching it all the time. She was like, well, what's going on here is sick, that these hosts are created like this and they can be tortured and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't really feel that way because they're just robots. They're not actual like living things with a memory. Well, I don't want to spoil what's going on in the show, but there might be a little bit more as far as like memory is involved. And when you're at that point, I started to kind of go back on my feelings. Like if this was just a computer program that was invented for a game, I would have no problem going out with a hunting posse and trying to follow track down an outlaw in the Wild West and bring him to justice. That would be fun. That'd be something that would be really cool. But you have the guys on the show that just live out sadistic fantasies. Well, that's messed up, right? But I guess the ethics of this thing having like a memory, there's something else going on there. So to get it back to Jurassic Park, I'm curious if you feel that there's any sort of like if there's anything ethically wrong with cloning a dinosaur specifically, if they could bring them back like this, or do you think it's the rampant kind of like controlling their breeding and all that stuff? Is that where the problem is?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my off the cuff response would be that yes, it is wrong. That's definitely a very important conversation that we do need to have in regard to this film, multiple times. So that's definitely going to be something I want to come back to sooner than later.
Yeah, well, we can table that discussion for a later date because it is something that probably needs a little bit of preparation. But one of the things that happens at the scene is Dr. Wu does talk about the selective engineering to make sure that all the dinosaurs are female on the island. And do I want to say that I read in the book that was also done to make them more complacent?
Yeah, they're female, they're more docile.
They're more docile. Apparently, no one's ever been around a mother animal in her chicks or her babies,
Or a dinosaur for that matter.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, it applies to all these other types of animals that we know. It must apply to dinosaurs too, so we'll make them that, and boom.
Lionesses are the ones that do the hunting. Like, just because they're female, it's like, it kind of like Dr. Wu saying like, oh, we're going to make them female so that they'll be calm. It's like, well, you don't know what these things are like. Yeah. And, male raptors could be this giant lethargic, like fat asses that just kind of lay around and eat meat all day, and the female raptor's the one that go out and like hunt down brachiosaurs or something. So that's a bit of an assumption to make, if in fact they made it. I'm pretty sure I remember reading that in the book. I'm not 100% sure, but I wanted to look into the science of the statement that all vertebrates are born female. And yes and no. It is kind of true. It is kind of not true. While there is some truth to Dr. Wu's statement that it's probably more accurate to state that every being is gender neutral at fertilization. It takes about 5 to 6 weeks for the X chromosome to kick in, and after that, the Y chromosome appears. So the Jurassic Park scientists just deny that Y chromosome to the dinosaur. So you start off, you have an XX on one side, XY on the other side. You start off with the X chromosome, and then the other X comes in later, or it can become a Y to make you a male. So it's not exactly true that everything starts off as female, but you do start off more female than male at about the 5 to 6 week period. So
yeah,
but yeah, so that's I think making them all female is smart as far as the breeding goes. But as we saw, because they took a shortcut and used frog DNA in the DNA strands, the dinosaurs were able to breed out in the wild.
So preoccupied with whether or not you could,
yeah,
you didn't stop to think if you should.
Exactly, yeah, and that's kind of, I think, probably one of the big moral problems underneath Jurassic Park is the whole Dr. Frankenstein thing of thinking like, hey, we can do this. And I was like, shouldn't you do it? No, probably not. So
yeah. So the only other thing that I've got for this minute is the robotic arm.
Yeah.
Did you know that that's a real thing? The Mitsubishi Move Master, and this is the RVM2 model, which I had no idea that was a real thing. And you can get one used on the internet for $5,800. So my savings is not as important to me as having one of these Move Master arms.
So what we're going to do is start like a new GoFundMe to try to buy one of these things so it can hold our mics in front of us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I had seen those things before. I knew that they existed, but I could see them like on assembly lines and stuff like that, I think, using like sprays and stuff, but not ever to hold like a dinosaur egg. And I don't believe that the tracking would be right so that it could grab an egg from Dr. Grant's hand.
To know like, oh, well, it shouldn't be in this place. Let me go grab it.
Now, of course, there could be someone with controls on the other side controlling it so that it could go and steady the eggs so the eggs don't flip off the table or anything like that during the hatching process. So that's believable, but I would like to see like Dr. Wu behind it kind of manipulating it a little bit, but hey, it's a funny moment when it grabs the egg from Grant.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
It kind of lightens up this very awe-inspiring scene that we've been seeing so far, which is really driven home by John Williams' music. I think this is one of his best
Oh,
moments in the movie is this score.
I didn't make a note for that, but let's talk about this, and it was in a little bit in the last minute as well, is that there's something very eerie going on in all of this. That raptor looks scary as hell coming out of that egg. It's got its big eye, its little claws, its teeth are bare, but it's so playful and like innocent in what it's doing that they're like, oh hey, little baby dinosaur, and they're like touching, and it's not trying to attack anybody, but it kind of makes a little growl at one point. But the music, like you're talking, is very eerie. It's very eerie. Kind of like
very melodic.
It reminds me a lot of stuff from Raiders of the Lost Ark, kind of that subtle background music that he plays sometimes.
No, absolutely. And it's, it's weird whenever you see people playing around with like a baby tiger or something like that.
Yeah.
You know that like, dude, that thing in a few years is going to be twice your size, and it's not going to think twice about making you its lunch.
Yeah, and you can see things that like cats and tigers do that look cute. Like, you ever seen a cat like try to attack something like a play toy or something?
Yeah.
So they'll grab it with their front paws, and then their back feet, they'll start kicking at it, and it looks cute because they're holding it with their forepaw, and the back feet are kicking at it. Well, to us it looks like, oh, look, he's kicking at it, but what they're really trying to do is disembowel the prey.
Oh my
so trying to hold it by the
Yeah.
throat and rip its stomach open with their back feet, so with their claws back there. So yeah, this dinosaur, he may come out and just kind of like, grip around John Hammond's finger, but it's, really he's thinking about holding a prey in place while he cracks its skull. So but it's very eerie. There's something in the scene that's it's one of the more, maybe not scary parts of the movie, but it's a little unnerving in what's going on.
Yeah.
And in the pacing, the kind of tone and the tempo of it, it's really well done.
And we're going to see it get even further, but even more unnerving in the next minute when we see Wu's reaction to Grant asking him if they bred raptors.
Yeah.
So,
and he's holding it. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Very cool scene.
Yeah, very cool. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Jurassic Park Minute. And like we said before, Goonies Minute is coming down the line. It's going to be here in just a little bit over 2 weeks.
December 12th.
Yeah, December 12th. So go ahead and get on that and subscribe to it. We got maybe something special coming on before that show actually drops. So I guess we're going to have to get back into the 2 podcasts at a time mode pretty soon, aren't we?
That's right.
All right,
Can't wait.
Okay, folks. Well, everybody have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us, and have a great Monday. I'm Kyle.
I'm Brady.
And until next time, hold on to your butts.
Jurassic Park Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the podcast, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can contact us at JurassicParkMinute@gmail.com and visit us online at JurassicParkMinute.com, Facebook.com/Jurassic Park Minute, and Twitter.com/Jurassic Minute. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at patreon.com/Pele Media. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Pele Media and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Pele Media.